Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. That is, unless you're a liberal, because then I know you'll never be happy. Since liberals are miserable people, they hate every American holiday that us normal people enjoy. Thanksgiving, because the early settlers stole this land from the Indians. And thank God they did. It's amazing what they did with the place. They hate Columbus Day for the same reason. They hate the 4th of July because to them it's another celebration of white men who stole the land from the natives. They hate Christmas because Santa Claus is white, and especially because it's a Christian holiday. They hate Easter for the same reason. And many can't even celebrate Martin Luther King Day because instead of remembering the legacy of the man and the impact that he had on civil rights, they use the day as another excuse to blame white people for all the problems in the black community. Liberals hate Mother's Day and Father's Day because they make non-traditional families feel bad, and those holidays celebrate heterosexual couples and traditional gender roles. And yes, they even hate Valentine's Day, not just because it can make people who are single feel ostracized or the typical complaints about the commercialization of the day or the social pressures to buy jewelry and candy and flowers, but because it perpetuates cisgender heteronormative couples. Heteronormative, in case you haven't been keeping up with this Orwellian newspeak, is a leftist term that they coined that means that heterosexuals are considered normal, which of course we are, but that's seen as a problem to the LGBT whatevers. Because if you say that heterosexual couples are normal couples, well, then that means I can't even finish that sentence without it being considered hate speech, but you get the point. So the Everyday Feminism website published a story complaining about Valentine's Day, saying that heteronormativity and gender roles have reared their ugly heads, and went on to say that while gifts for him and her are clearly marked in the stores, it's almost impossible to find cards that represent queer couples. The student newspaper at California State University, my alma mater by the way, published a story titled "Heteronormative Valentine's Depictions Marginalize LGBTQIA+ Community." The plus means that there are more sexual preferences, and the acronym is actually longer, by the way. The article whines about how the holiday perpetuates a fixed depiction of couples and romance as primarily held between a man and a woman, and they think Valentine's Day isn't gay enough. The author went on to blame the media for the acceptance of heteronormative relationships as being normal, and complained that there aren't enough portrayals in movies and TV shows of those in the LGBTQAI+ community. Not enough! A student group at Yale University hosted an anti-Valentine's Day event to fight capitalism and heteronormativity. An elementary school in St. Paul, Minnesota canceled the Valentine's Day arts and crafts and banned children from bringing any cards or candy to school. The principal sent a letter to the parents saying that it was his personal feeling that the school needs to find a way to honor and engage in holidays that are more inclusive. It's not just Valentine's Day that he's planning on banning. He went on to say, quote, "I have come to the difficult decision to discontinue the celebration of the dominant holidays until we can come to a better understanding of how the dominant view will suppress someone else's view." I wish I could say this as a joke, but it's not. And the dominant holidays, of course, being American holidays. And I'm sure that he'll hold an arts and crafts event for Kwanzaa this year, and will probably ban the kids from eating lunch during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan to teach them about fasting. But Valentine's Day, and I'm sure Easter and other normal holidays, will be skipped. The GLAAD organization, Gays and Lesbian Against Defamation, has been openly lobbying Hollywood for years to include more gay and transgender characters in television series and films, and they're aiming to pressure studios to include LGBTQAI+ characters in 50% of all films by the year 2024. Each year they release a report called the Studio Responsibility Index, where they track their progress and complain that mainstream entertainment still isn't gay enough. They even have what they call the GLAAD Media Institute to spread their propaganda and work towards their goals. One of their recent Studio Responsibility Index reports complains that, quote, "Studios must do better to include more LGBTQ characters and construct those stories in a way that is directly tied to the film's plot. Far too often, LGBTQ characters and stories are relegated to subtext, and it's left up to the audience to interpret or read into a character as being LGBTQ audiences may not even realize they're seeing an LGBTQ character. This is obviously one of the left's most aggressive efforts, and in the last few years, they've successfully caused an influx of LGBTQ whatever characters in major television series, and convinced Disney, Sesame Street, and Nickelodeon to get on board with their plans. Few people know this, and there's a whole section in my book, Hollywood Propaganda, about it, but there are dozens of lobbying organizations in Hollywood that lobby studios to write certain topics into the scripts of TV shows and movies to popularize and normalize them. Many of them take on clients and then promote whatever issue it is that they want them to spread under the disguise of entertainment. Even of the few people in the industry who knows this happens, even fewer know the names of these agencies. They're calling it Social Impact Entertainment, or SIE, and UCLA has an entire department dedicated to it to indoctrinate the next generation of those entering the entertainment industry. One of the most powerful social impact agencies is called Proper Daily, founded by a guy named Greg Proper and Mark Daly, who are close associates to the Clintons. In fact, before co-founding the agency, Greg Proper worked for the Clinton Foundation, and when Hillary was running for president in 2016, he helped organize fundraisers for her with various A-list celebrities. Just a few years ago, Proper Daily held a private invitation-only conference for about 400 writers, producers, and executives in the industry to lobby them to include more pro-gay, transgender, immigration, abortion, and other social justice propaganda into their shows and films. In fact, Planned Parenthood has their own division called the Arts and Entertainment Engagement Department that lobbies television studios and feeds them plot points and story ideas to include in their shows. The Washington Post called Karen Spruck, the director of the program, Planned Parenthood's secret weapon, and her work has resulted in pro-abortion plots being included in countless television shows and even an entire film, a supposed comedy about abortion called Obvious Child, about a girl who gets knocked up and then gets an abortion on Valentine's Day. Of course, when President Obama was trying to get Obamacare passed into law, several Hollywood lobbyist groups and PR firms were paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote Obamacare to network TV writers to have them incorporate positive messages about it into their shows, which, of course, they did. See, once you look behind the scenes of how Hollywood really works, there are all sorts of strings being pulled to produce the final products that the masses consume without even a second thought about the messages that they're being bombarded with. The United Nations also has a special program called the Creative Community Outreach Initiative, which lobbies producers and celebrities to help promote various agendas as well. They even have a lobbying group focused on the advertising industry to encourage them to promote social justice causes through advertising campaigns for unrelated consumer products, which explains all the diversity we've been seeing in commercials over the last few years. Come to think of it, I don't think I've seen a white couple all month. I could go on and on with the details, but I'll keep this video rather brief. But if you really want to know how the entertainment industry works, order my book, Hollywood Propaganda: How TV, Movies, and Music Shape Our Culture. Get it in paperback from Amazon.com or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play, or Nook. And my books are a lot more in-depth than my videos, and they're all fully sourced with hundreds of footnotes, so you know that the information is accurate. So head on over to Amazon.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.